I've never been the favorite child. At least, that's what my parents made sure I never forgot. My younger brother, Eric, was the golden one, smart, charming, and spoiled to the core. And I was the quiet one, the one who worked 2 jobs, paid my own tuition, and sent money home while pretending everything was fine. Till I believed that maybe, just maybe, my 30th birthday would be different. A small family dinner, maybe a cake. Something simple. But I was wrong. So painfully wrong. That morning, I called my mom, just to check in. She sounded distracted, said she was busy cooking, and would call me back. Hours passed. No call. When I opened Facebook later that evening, my heart dropped. A live video was playing. My parents' living room filled with balloons, music, and laughter. A big silver banner hung across the wall. Congratulations, Eric. It wasn't my birthday party. It was a celebration for my brother's promotion. Still, I drove there anyway. Part of me hoped maybe they'd surprise me after. Maybe they hadn't forgotten completely. When I walked in, everyone went quiet. My dad's face twisted into that disappointed look I knew too well. "Oh, Clara, you actually came." Then he smirked and added, "Well, I guess 30 is a milestone, though not everyone reaches it with much to show for it." People chuckled. My mom whispered, "Don't be so sensitive, it's just a joke." But it wasn't, because right after that, my dad raised his glass and said it. "To Eric, the pride of this family, and to Clara, the biggest disappointment we've ever had." Everyone laughed. Even my mother smiled. I felt something break inside me that night. It wasn't anger. It wasn't sadness. It was silence, cold, calm silence. And in that silence, I made a promise. They would regret every word. Over the next few weeks, I stopped calling. Stopped sending the monthly transfers I'd been sending for years. Yes, that's right. They had no idea I was the one paying their debts, keeping the lights on, and even helping with Eric's rent when he fell behind. They thought their precious son's life was all self-made. They thought the house they lived in was secured through my father's connections. No, it was me, and I was done being invisible. A month later, my mom called panicked. The mortgage payment hadn't gone through. The bank was calling. I told her I was busy. She said, "But you always help." I said, "I guess this time I'll be the disappointment you think I am." Then I hung up. By month 3, Eric's tuition had defaulted. My parents' utilities were being cut. And they started asking questions, real questions. But by then, I'd already made my move. Through my company, I contacted the bank. The house they lived in had a foreclosure auction scheduled. I didn't bid under my name. I let the company buy it quietly. And when the papers cleared, I had the locks changed. It took them a week to realize who the new owner was. The day they came to my office, my mother was in tears. My father's pride had cracked just enough for him to say, "Clara, please. We need more time. We'll pay. Just don't let us lose our home." I looked at them, the same people who laughed at me, belittled me, humiliated me in front of others. And I smiled. "You're in luck," I said. "The new owner is willing to let you stay." They sighed in relief. Until I added, "But not for free. Their rent, triple their old mortgage. Non-negotiable. Due on the 1st of every month." For the first few months, they paid. Barely. But pride tastes bitter when it's swallowed cold. Eric stopped calling me altogether. Mom's voice grew weaker with every rent reminder. And my dad, well, he finally stopped telling people his daughter was a disappointment. Because now his daughter was his landlord. A year later, I invited them for dinner. They hesitated but came. I made their favorite meal, roast chicken, potatoes, and a chocolate cake. We sat at the same table where, a year ago, they'd laughed at me. When the plates were empty, I poured the wine and said, "Dad, remember what you said last year? About me being the family's biggest disappointment." He didn't answer. Mom looked down. I leaned back and smiled. "You were right. I was a disappointment, but only because I spent years disappointing myself by caring what you thought." Then I raised my glass. Here's to 30, the year I finally learned that silence is the sweetest revenge. Since then, I haven't looked back. They still live in that house. Still pay me rent. Still walk on eggshells when they see me. Sometimes I feel sorry for them. Other times I remember that night. The laughter, the words, the sting. And I remind myself, some lessons have to hurt to be remembered. Moral of the story: family should lift you, not label you. Don't expect respect from those who only value what you give, not who you are. The sweetest revenge is success in silence. Never beg to be celebrated by people who enjoy your humiliation. Sometimes walking away isn't weakness, it's wisdom. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to leave a like, share, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any of our emotional revenge stories. Thanks for watching.